here she is. So, having gone from not riding one Italian bike ever, I'm doing like 2 in about 4 days. The MV Augusta 4 on the track to yesterday, and check this out. Ducati Monster 1100, and here we are at Ducati in Coventry. A place that I'd not been to before, and there's a very good reason for that, because if I did, I would have no money left, I'd have no house, I'd have no nothing, because I would spend everything I own in there. Oh my god, they've got pretty much every Ducati under the sun here. It's like the central servicing area for Ducatis in the country and all the press fleet. So, what do you know about the Monster? Well, I remember when this first came in, what was it, early 90s, they had the 600 Monster and the 900 Monster, because a bloke at the end of my road had one, and the noise it made was unbelievable. It was kind of like the original Italian naked torque machine, I suppose to describe it. It's a naked bike. Now that they do the Street Fighter, this is kind of, I wouldn't say it's going towards the Tourer, but it's not as much powerful as it was. Obviously the Street Fighter is the one that, like you had the old Monster S4 with the foggy superbike engine. This has an 1100 V-twin, okay, same drive, new exhaust system at the back. Some people say I don't like, but I'm quite liking the look of. It's quite narrow, it's supposed to be nimble. Brand new set of tyres on this, is brand new, this is the 010 model. 010? The 10 model. It's got ABS fitted as well. So, what does it retail at $9,995, I believe, for this? Under 10 grand. We're looking at a naked sports bike, really. But also one that can be used, hopefully, on a daily basis. It's quite well renowned for having quite a flat torque band, and quite a flat power band. To be honest with you, I've been wanting to ride one of these since I was a kid. It's always been a fantasy. Not only to get a Ducati, but a Monster. I'm going to jump on this Monster 1100. We'll do like the half-hour journey home, and I'll let you know what I think of it for first impressions. Bring it on, because look, it's sunny! Oh my goodness. That is one pretty bike. New Ducati Monster 1100. Not the S, this is the standard, with the ABS, 10 model. Just ridden home in Coventry. My first ever Ducati. It's like a boyhood dream come true. First thing I'm going to do, I'm going to turn this off in a bit actually, is show you how noisy it is, because probably most people that have got Ducati Monsters, or like me, have always wanted one, was turned on by the fact that it makes one of the best rackets ever. That V-twin, it's industrial sounding, it's evil, it's... Oh, and with I love the way with the steel frame exposed and the chassis, it makes it sound more industrial. But are you ready for this twin, okay? That is loud. While I've still got the ignition on, I'll show you the layout. You've got really simple rev counter. You've got multi-set computer at the bottom here at the moment with trip on. All the different things that you can have set. And your speed counter. That's it, man. It is naked. It is stripped down. I'm going to turn it off now. Whew. And it is great. I'm not going to lie, when I first got this, I was almost... Well, not disappointed before I even started out, purely because, obviously, the Monster S4 is the one, or the S4RS, which is the one that used to have the superbike engine in. Now that they make the Street Fighter, this has actually still got the torque and everything, but a little bit more of a practical bike. Now, first impressions, let's start with the looks. I've seen pictures of this and didn't think it looked that spectacular. The old, more bulbous shaped, I liked. But, in the flesh, it's got to be said, this is prettier. Little things like that used to have on like the V-Rub Mustang and stuff. The little kind of steroid hump, I like. Exposed steel chassis is beautiful. Those exhausts, it actually makes sense having them tucked up under here, because look how narrow it allows you to have that centre part of the bike, which means you can really grip around that big tank with your legs, and you can get really comfortable. Back tyre, not overly huge, with a single swing arm there, it just seems to work. These are brand new tyres obviously that I've got on it, so I'm taking it a little bit careful. Nice bit of exposed suspension there on the swing arm. And then you've obviously got front here, your redesigned front light. And I think that's quite a nice one compared to some of the triangular ones and stuff. I quite like that. It still kind of has that slightly old school feel to it. So let's talk about the actual bike itself. First things first, riding position. It's an upright bike with a seat slanted forward, and the handlebars feel slightly lower than they probably would have been a normal upright bike. And the reason for that is it gives you this impression of almost leaning forward on the bike. I'm doing that, I'm not actually pointing at it. Which, actually, to start with, I was like, oh, it feels a bit weird, been on the motorway, what's the point? But as soon as you start chucking around the corners, it makes sense. Just seems to kind of throw your weight over that front tyre, and it allows us to dip in better into corners, which is good. Engine, that V-twin. I remember the only other thing I probably would say that I've ridden that compared to this would be the Buell 1125R, obviously the sports bike. I will be getting my hands on the rest of the Ducati range to compare their sports bikes as well, but having a twin is great. It's a complete almost flat power band, torque-wise as well, where it's just vroom, vroom, vroom through the gears. There's no one to wind it up. Instant power, instant torque. That's why twins a lot of people love. You get on them, it's so different for a 4-cylinder, which feels so much more refined and smoother and come up. For instance, I'm going to be riding the Ducati next few days and be back on the Bandit, and it will be a big shock to the system, because the Bandit, being a 650 4-cylinder, will be a lot smoother than this. This feel of the power just comes in one big lump. Now, like a lot of twins, as I say, that can feel a bit jerky to start with, if you're used to riding 4-cylinder, but personally, I love it, because it really is, to me, almost take you back to that real manly ugh noise that a bike should make, and the power delivered in a way that it should be, you know, in just big lumps, hands of it. And yeah, as I say, it can feel a bit lumpy sometimes, that you get a lot of power and a brake in that, but once it's warmed up, it's beautiful. Brakes, really impressed with these, actually. As I say, my first time with Ducatis, is pretty much everything is new to me, but I didn't expect it to ride as well as it did. Is it me being stupid? I thought it would be a Ducati, like, brilliant bike, not very manageable and quite hard to ride, but a lot of fun. It's ticking all the fun boxes, but it's actually surprised me as much that riding it over here, it handled really well. You could really tuck it into things, and it seemed quite practical, but obviously I've only just had my first impressions. Brakes were really good. I had to grab a handful for a few occasions coming back. Worked. Even the back brake felt quite sprightly, which is nice, and obviously you don't want too much back brake when you're riding, but it's always nice to know it's there. And yeah, just everything, even those wing mirrors, when you get on, because you're kind of seated forward and you're kind of hunched over the front, you think, oh, I'm not going to be able to see through those, but actually you get really good view. If you're going along there, look, you can see straight behind you. So it does just really kind of work. Everything's basic and laid out. And the biggest thing I think when you get this bike is A, noise, and B, being on a Ducati, it does feel different, you know. There's passion that goes into this bike. Not that, you know, other bikes don't feel like that, but it does. Everyone looks at you when you're riding that. I've just ridden that through the jewellery courses to get home. I stopped off to show a mate, because he's always one of the guys that works in the shop. Always said to me, if I ever get Ducati, I've got to stop off and show him, and I did. And yeah, kids were stopping because I'd stopped it with it running at the side of the road. They were asking their parents if they could, like, you know, have a listen to the bike and could they touch it. And it's just a great bike. So beautiful. These are my first impressions, obviously. Beautiful. Nice power. I mean, you know, it's not going to do 160 on a track, obviously. It'll probably get up to, I imagine, about 120, 130 top speed. I'll get all the official technical stats and whack on the diary. Looks, it's very distinctive, you know. It really does. That rounded kind of shape on the petrol tanks, it comes down, but narrow in the middle, as I say, gives you a lovely little grip position on your legs. It performs, you know, it's a twin. It's just going to have you just talk through the eyeballs, which it does beautifully. It handles well, it brakes well. So first impressions from a quick 40-minute ride round, not bad. It'll be interesting to see what I think of it as the week goes on. As I say, I'm going to spend the next few days. What day is it today? Today's Tuesday, so I will be on this Wednesday, Thursday, Friday this week. And then I will be taking it back to Ducati next week and getting something else. Then I'm going to spend a few days on the Bandit, and then I'm going to get that Hornet back to street bike at some point this week as well. I think that'll be Wednesday. So yeah, tomorrow day solely on Ducati. Wednesday I'll spend a day on the Hornet. Thursday, Friday Ducati, and then next week I'll be looking at getting on the Bandit. Doesn't get much better than that, hey? What a good way to spend the day. And obviously today saw the first day of spring. It was sunny out, still quite cold, but it felt great to be on a bike and nice weather to be riding a Ducati. So until next time, my friends, ride safe.